So we saw in our previous example of a real-world pipeline how easy it is to search through a bunch of text files for lines that match a regular expression and even show which line number in which file the match was on. But what if you wanted to pull some more interesting information out of your log files? Well, in my Skype voice changer log files that we looked at in the last example, I log whenever a user activates their license. And this means I've got the information to answer some interesting questions. For example, how many of my customers actually activate their license? Hopefully it's nearly 100%, but if it's less, maybe that's a sign that the license files are ending up in their spam folders. Or maybe I want to know if anyone who's asked for a refund is still actually using the product anyway. Or maybe I want to count how many times a particular license has been activated so I can detect if it's being shared by many different users. And these are exactly the types of question that LINQ can help me to answer really easily. So let's see how we can do that. Here you can see a slightly modified version of the LINQ pipeline we just constructed. I still enumerate through all the files and I still call select many to read all the lines from each file. But what I do next is to skip over the first line in each file, and that's because the first line has just got the column names in. And then I split each line on commas because it's a CSV file. And then I also filter out any lines without as many columns as I expect, just in case we've got some blank lines at the end of the log file. Then I filter to only include lines with the phrase checking license. And then I call select to transform some of the fields in the CSV. So the field at index 0 is the date time, so I can parse that. And the field at index 8 I know will contain the license number, and so I'm going to extract that with a regular expression. And the field at index 9 will contain the text true if this license is being activated for the first time on a computer. So again, I'm pulling that information out with another regular expression. And then I follow that with another where clause that filters out any invalid license numbers. And so you can see that when I run this, I can see information on all the license activations, when they happened, what the license number was, and whether this was a first-time activation or not. And so now I can go further and start to answer some of those questions that I wanted to ask of my log files. For example, how many unique licenses have been activated? And I can get that very easily by just adding a call to select just the license number, and then a call to distinct. And this gives me very quickly the unique list of licenses that were activated in this period of the log files. We'll leave this example here, but the next time you have some log files and you want to parse them and pull out some interesting information, why not see if you can do it in LINQ? You might be surprised at how quickly you can start answering some quite complicated questions by making use of LINQ pipelines. And by creating this LINQ pipeline, I've now got a reusable piece of code that I can quickly use to answer all kinds of other interesting questions about my log files in the future. So before we wrap up this module, I'm just going to show you one more example of a LINQ pipeline.